that we do every 2 weeks. So today I'm going to be hosting the demo along with Chetna a little bit. If you look at my screen that I've shared, you can see the agenda. We're going to go through the sprint goals, have a look at the Scrum task progress, then the main two things, which is the demo and then getting feedback on the demo. And then there's a section for issues and blockers from the team, which we do have something to show you there. And then we're going to jump into the product requirements workshop, which is a new format that we're tagging onto this meeting, which is where so the demo and the feedback on the demo is looking at what we have now and feedback on that. The product requirement is what you want to see next, kind of thing. And we've got a fun interactive format for that with voting that we want to get your feedback on. So we are going to try and time box these. The first section's 35 to 50 minutes and the product requirements 40 minutes. We'll see how we go. Chetna and my team is going to be trying to hold us strictly to this because we don't want to have long discussions that never end. So onto the sprint goals. This sprint, we had 2 sprint goals. The first was to show all of the features of what you can do in an app that you sign into with Tonomy ID. And we do have a new design coming through, which we'll be showing you. But the sprint goal was to finish that demo website, even if we didn't have that new design. So this is an important tool, both for potential clients to understand what they can do, as well as for developers to understand the flows. And we've got some code snippets in there, stuff like this. The second sprint goal was to create a stable integration environment that the developers weren't pushing code to during our sprint. Both goals we almost finished. Our first sprint goal, we did complete one of the 2 features, so you can sign a verifiable credential. We have a full demo of that. We did not complete the demo feature of showing a transaction signing. And the second sprint goal, we about half finished this, in that we got a lot of this was a big infrastructure thing. We got about half of that infrastructure set up. A few snags along the way that kept us back. So over to Chetna, who's going to be just giving a quick overview of our tasks and how we went throughout the sprint.
Thank you so much, Jack. So our sprint started from 5th onwards. So if you look at the graph, it's a burn up chart. Those who are new to a sprint review meeting, burn up chart is a task, which we can check the number of tasks completed, and looking at the graph, we can see the progress of the project. So we started from 5th. So as you can see, the first day of sprint, so we managed to finish a couple of the tasks, and here the graph went up till 8, and for 2-3 days there was a steady line. That means we did not finish any of the tasks, means it was not done. Then from 11 onwards the graph is going up, which looks quite good to me. And today is the last day, so the graph looks good. Most of the all the team members have done quite a effort, and yes, like the graph looks good this time. Yes, so let's go to the next chart. So this is the cumulative flow chart. Here we can see the number of issues added and blocked, if we are blocked anywhere. Oh, and in progress, how many tasks are in progress, then review, staging, and done. So looking at the graph also, we can see uh, we had, I think, couple of the new issues, but yet not that much. Yes, so also in progress also looks good, and staging. So this time the graph looks quite good. So, we have managed to finish a lot of tasks this time. Yes. So any questions on this? if you want to understand the graph or anything. All right, then I'll give it to Jack. Thank you so much. Jack, you are mute, I suppose.
Okay, yeah. Unmute, share screen again. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, so there's going to be 3 things we demo today. The general login flow, because we do have a few newer faces who haven't seen the whole Tonomy ID flow. We're going to have the sign a VC flow, which I said we finished. And then Malitja is going to show us the low fidelity design that got finished with the feedback. So let's see if this works. This is always a bit tricky. Start screen sharing. Right. So great. So here on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see my phone, and on the left-hand side, you will see the demo website. So first thing I'm going to be showing, so this is on 2 different devices. This is obviously on my computer. This is running on my phone, which you can't see. First, I'm going to just show you creating an account. It's very simple. I will choose a username. Let's say Madonna 44. I can choose generally any username. This username is stored exclusively on the phone, so it's a private piece of information. It doesn't get stored on a server or a database anywhere. I then choose a password. This is something I can use to log out and log back into the account. This password is also never stored in a database or sent to a server or anything like that, which you normally see in most applications. And this password, unlike most Web3 wallets, makes it easy to manage your account. Behind the scenes, this is creating a private key. Oh dear, we've just lost. Why is that going away? 1 second. Jitsi sometimes has a hard time running both these apps on my phone. Okay. Now I'm in here several times. Okay, great. So I did just click the create account button, and then it shows that my account's been created. So now I'm signed in. I see my username. I'm going to click scan a QR code, and on the same side, I'm going to click to log in with the Tonomy ID staging app. So this could be, a website for a bank. It could be a new social media. You can use Tonomy ID to sign into anything. It can be a Web 2 or a Web 3 app. I'm going to click login. That's going to redirect me to the login portal. It looks like I've already logged in. So it just gives me a waiting screen. You can see my phone. This is incorrect. Okay, this is actually a bug. Interesting. You can see here the bug is that I'm logged in on 2 different accounts. I'm going to log out here, which allows me to try this again. We'll have to fix that bug. So I will log in again this time. This time I logged out of that other site. Oh dear. Let's try this again. Okay, that's looking better. So I will click scan QR code. I'm going to log into this website with the QR code. I can see now I get a consent screen. Yes, for my login. I can choose whether I want to log into this app. I'll click next on my phone, and that will be redirecting me back to the demo site. So in here, I said there's a few things you can do. You can sign a transaction. We haven't finished the flow for this, but I can sign a verifiable credential. And this is what I'm going to be signing. We're doing a medical record use case as a demo here. This could be used for contracts, shipping and logistics events, voting, tickets. You could sign any of these as a verifiable credential. So this is a medical record. I'm going to sign this. This data here, again, doesn't get sent to a server and gets signed as a W3C verifiable credential when I click this button. That got signed immediately. So this document is here in the browser, and I can verify that same verifiable credential by clicking this button. Behind the scenes, it's all working. And if you look at the code on GitHub, you'll be able to see that. So that's it. We do have a new design coming. Melita's about to show you that. And we are going to be showing you how to sign a blockchain transaction as well in the demo site. That's it for the demo. So that was showing the kind of full sign-in flow, and then also being able to sign a W3C verifiable credential in an app, which is very easy. Just one click of a button, and you've got the credentials signed by the user's DID that's associated with their Tonomy ID account. I'm now going to give it to Melita, who's going to show you a bit about the new design of this demo, which is the idea was we want to make this clearer what's going on based on previous feedback. So over to you, Melita.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Melita, and I'm the designer. I am going to now show you the new designs. This is a low fidelity version of those designs. I am currently working on the high fidelity version, and if you come next sprint, you will see it in color. So this is the first page you come, and it is the user homepage before the user signed in. So it has some previews of what are the things that you will be able to do once you sign in. The point of this website was to have it explain for non-technical people what are the possibilities, not features, but possibilities of that Tonomy ID helps you achieve. And in the corner, you will see that there's like view documentation and code snippet. It is for the developers or more techie people to see how it actually works, because this is an open source application. So once you click on the login button, then that login button, the Tonomy turns into a lock that symbolizes security, because we do have great security on the app. And then it's going to fly away in the corner and turn into a username of what, or it's not going to look exactly like this. This is just our presentation, but if you choose to have Tonomy, you can present this the way you want. It's just an additional animation that is going to help your clients get a sense of security that Tonomy ID provides. Upon logging in, you will be seeing this homepage, and this homepage has a carousel of all the things that you will be able to do on this demo website. There will be more For the moment, there's 3, technically 2, that we are going to be showing next demo, if you come.
Melissa,
Yes?
would you be able to zoom in just a bit so this is like full screen
Okay.
for everyone? It's a bit easier to read. Yeah,
I cannot do more than this. I hope you can see.
That's great.
So these are going to be use cases of signing a transaction, of signing documentation. And we, after having the business development team, having their input and having the input of the product owner, we have decided that it needs to be more user-friendly. It needs to tell a story, explain it in a very non-techie way, so anybody who comes sees the vast possibilities of the website, of the Tonomy ID. And then once you click on, let's say, sign transaction, you will be welcomed to this page, which is going to be a use case of signing a transaction. In this instance, we used an example of signing a bank transaction because it is something that all of us do, and hopefully you will understand it through an example that is familiar to you or to all of us. So it is going to be an image of a person in a bank, and then we will lead you through the story that you want to transfer something. You've bought an art piece, you want to transfer, sign your account, springs into action, sends a security transaction to the bank where it is verified and recorded by your transaction in your transaction history. And then here it's going to look like any bank application window where you're gonna be sending money to somebody, whoever is the recipient of the money that you're sending to. So you will have a list of people on a drop-down menu that you can choose to send. And after pressing send payment, you're going to be this is how the drop-down menu is going to look like. After you send payment, there is going to be an illustration of a token in a blockchain that's going to enter the blockchain and come out verified. And after that is going to fly into the hands of the human that is the recipient of the money that you sent for the art piece that you bought. I hope that is clear. And then we are going to have just like a window of a screen of Tonomy ID. It is just telling you that you successfully signed a blockchain transaction using Tonomy ID. And the next one is signing a document. Very similar looking screen because we want uniformity, consistency. So in this instance, there is an image of a person in a doctor's office holding a phone. And then the story goes that you go to the doctor's office. You're waiting for a checkup. Tonomy ID notifies you that Dr. Smith, your doctor, wants to access your medical files, and you approve it. So you know exactly who is looking at your medical files, and you have the full autonomy over it. And then you will you will be taken to the screen that looks like medical app window, and you will, as you see, this is like the basic information of a client. You will sign using Tonomy ID. Per usual, you will always have an option to view documentation or view code snippet if you're more tech savvy and want to see how it works behind the scenes. After that, it will turn into a key locking a package, which is Tonomy ID locking your data. And then it is going to be it's secure. It tells you that it is tamper-free, that it will be sent without anybody else peeking into your data. And Then there will be an illustration of a human holding the package who verified it because it flew into the verifier. We are trying to explain the way that it actually works. And after the verifier has verified it, you will get the message that you successfully signed and verified document using Tonomy ID, and there will be a mock-up of Tonomy ID. And that is it. Thank you. You're muted.
Thanks, Melita. A few notes on what Melita just showed. Firstly, everything there is white labelable. So the Tonomy ID app, the login flow that you saw, and even the demo will be white labelable. So you can show it to your clients or your users in your way. The demo side is really for us to show clients and for developers to understand. Probably is not relevant for you to show, but it is also possible to be white labeled. All of this is open source, as you could see. It's also important to know that the features behind that demo site are built already and documented, and they have a beta release. So this is ready to be used, albeit the demo site isn't ready yet, which we want to use as a tool to really explain this better. But it is ready, and once we have the stable test environment, which is going to be there this week, then you'll be able to actually try it out and integrate with Tonomy ID in your apps already in a stable way that won't have the bugs that come in from developers during Sprint. So yeah, you can see the documents there on docs.tonomy.foundation. So that's it for the demo. What we do now is basically we get feedback from anybody, from our stakeholders here primarily, being our external stakeholders. I think we have Kirsten and Sofian joining us today. We also have our internal stakeholders, which is the Tonomy Foundation board, and all of our externally facing BD and marketing team. So I want to ask you all basically for feedback on what you have seen today. You can ask clarifying questions, you can ask to see something again, or you can give feedback. I liked this, I didn't like that. Why is it like this? I want to reinforce that talk about strategy of what we want to have that isn't there yet will be part of the next workshop. So we're going to leave that out and we'll try and curate that out to the next section after this. So now is just time for feedback on what you've just seen. So I would like Kirsten to speak.
Yes, thank you. This is more of a clarifying question, I think. You are recording to put on YouTube. What part are you actually going to put on YouTube, and how does that fit with the Scrum practices?
I think the idea is everything up to the end of this demo. So probably we've got 2 more slides, and maybe we'll also do the product requirements workshop, but this is also a new territory for us. And then how it fits into Scrum, maybe I'll let Chetna answer. She's our Scrum Master.
Thank you, Jack. Like as of now, like I have no experience anyone putting sprint review in the YouTube channel. However, like some organization wants to keep it really private, and some organization wants to really open up. So that is all completely onto the organization how they want to function. Because if you look at Apple, like they don't even reveal the sprint review, sprint goal, next sprint goal. So it's completely up to the organization how they want to function.
Yeah, I think it fits in line with one of the visions of the foundation, which is just to be very transparent. That's to try and keep ethics flat and everybody in line with what we're doing. No bullshit kind of a situation for our partners.
Yeah, I get that, and I like it, but it might also create a bit of a barrier because people might be more conscious to I don't know, share some things, give feedback, because it will be out there forever. So that's maybe something
It's a
to be
good piece of
discussed
feedback.
internally.
Good point. Thank you, Kirsten. Any feedback on the product we've just seen? Things you liked, things you didn't like, things you want to see again? Cheyenne.
Yeah, so I was wondering how customizable the demo would be, because if you're going to different customers, they're going to have different use cases, and they will want to see a demonstration of their use case, within their specific context. So I was wondering for the sales team, if they were to want to demonstrate the solution, how much effort would it take to personalize a demonstration?
So the demo site will be white labelable, meaning we can change the color scheme and the kind of name tags. But the demo site is not really meant to be the use case that we sell. The use case that we allow them to integrate comes from the client. So I know Sophian's here. Sophian, they're building a social media platform. In their case, Tonomy ID or NewCoin ID, as it will probably be with them, will sign on to the NewCoin apps. And that is a process, like for demo purposes, you can do that in 10, 20 minutes as a developer, basically integrate with the Tonomy ID staging and create that kind of thing if it's open source. If it's closed source, then the client itself would have to do that because we can't access their code. But in theory, you can do it very quickly to show a sign into any open source app. The demo site itself won't be customizable. It'll show the features Tonomy ID can allow you to use. Hope that answers your question. Reshmi. Oh, sorry, Sophian was first.
Cool. Thank you so much for the demo. The part that I liked a lot was the simplicity of scanning the QR code and getting logged in. So this is like a very powerful feature. It removes a lot of complexity on the user side, and it also provides better security because you don't have to store the private key on the computer, which is usually like much more likely to be vulnerable, let's say, because it's less controlled than phone platforms. The part that I don't know if I'm not sure if it's the right context to talk about it, but it's around the idea of outsourcing the username to an off-chain system. I really like the idea of having also on-chain human readable usernames. What's your take on that? Is it like compatible, or are you advocating fully for username should be only off-chain and we should have like a kind of hash or something that's like anonymizing the username?
So just to clarify in this feedback, maybe it's unclear for you where the username is and how the mechanism would work to share that because you want the username to be shared, or you don't think it should be a feature. Like, could you just clarify
the idea is that it's great to have the ability to have an identity that is off-chain, but I was wondering if you still have in your design this thing where the username is like kind of some random characters as opposed to having like an actual username.
Yeah, so there is an account on the blockchain. This doesn't work. and the account name there is fully randomized. So you have a anonymous account name, and then you have a user chosen username that is off the blockchain that you can share with others. So when you sign into an app, you always share the anonymous blockchain name, and then you optionally will be sharing the username. We don't have the consent screen that gives you the option to choose that yet, but that's like next in line.
Okay, and so if I share this randomized username, it will remain the same randomized username. So the only thing we are doing is giving up pseudonymous. So it's not anonymous, because anonymous would mean there is no trace of like who's the account, which is not the case here, because each action kind of traces back to that username. What it does,
the account name is anonymous, and that will stay the same for your account forever. And the username can change over time. The user can change their username.
Okay, and so the anonymous account name could have been something that's human readable.
In theory, it can be by chance, by coincidence. There's an algorithm that generates it randomly. The user does not control that. So if the random generation thing can always spit out something that says something.
So and this is something that's like hard coded, and it would be difficult to, because so my general feedback about this is that it's great to have the ability to have like an anonymous layer sitting on top of the off chain. This is great. But having this like username that's like randomized, it's not really anonymous, because each time I will do something, it will always like trace back to that username. The only thing that
It's
does,
correlatable. It's correlatable, I think.
Yeah,
would
exactly.
be the way you say security.
Yeah, there's a constant which is
okay,
like.
So you're worried about the correlatability of the anonymous username?
Not necessarily, but like since it's there, since it's going to be repeated, the same username, why not having something that's like human readable? Like something like I don't know, Neo123, or something that people like.
Yeah, so the username the user will choose.
Yeah, and so my question is, why not having like on-chain username and then off-chain username, but have both being username, as opposed to having like just a random string of characters? What's the value of making it non-human readable?
Because it's anonymous, I guess. That's the design. That can be shared around without
if I call myself Mickey Mouse,
as much of a privacy risk. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to say, if I call myself Mickey Mouse, it's still anonymous, right? It's not less anonymous than the username that was generated.
I think, Jack, the most Sophian request is to create the like a public username, which is like a random right now, completely random, just to make it more human being readable. So because the people would like it more, it will be easier for them to use it. This is, I think, the comment.
People find it easier to use a random username than a user chosen username.
No, I think the
user
people...
chosen is easier.
User chosen is easier. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we have this like public private key, key pair. It's like randomized. Then on top of it, we have a layer of like a public username. And then on top of that, we have a private username. And so the fact that we try to turn the public username into a public key, a shorter public key, I don't see the value, but I see the cost. Like, I don't see what it adds to the privacy. It doesn't add anything, because it's always going to be the same, like, it's always going to be the same account. So it's not really anonymous. But the only thing that it does is it makes it like more, difficult to use, like to manipulate. because you cannot like remember it and type it somewhere, or like there are lots of occurrences where you would have to like remember the HEH132. It doesn't really.
Yeah, so the user doesn't have to remember their on-chain anonymous account name. They don't need that. If they have the private username, they can figure this out. They can figure out this one. But if they don't have this, you can't figure out that.
Mhm.
So this is off-chain, private. This is on-chain and public and anonymous.
Yeah, this is assuming that the wallet is going to be the only wallet they would use. But if there is, one day a user who wants to do something else with another wallet, we want to give them the power to do that. And yeah, basically, I think in general, like having a username, even if I want to see, let's say I want to check my block explorer, it would be easier for me to check my block explorer with Jack666 than with a very long, like with a username, and also to protect people against all kinds of like exploit or hack or things like that. It would be easy to imitate something that is randomly generated, because it's hard to remember all the characters. So people would look at the last 3 ones, and if you do something with a wallet that's like kind of the same but not exactly the same, it's much easier to like recognize your name. So, and again, I just don't see the value add of making it randomized. I see only like negatives.
You would say, okay, so your feedback is that this should also be user just generated.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, thank you. Reshmi.
Thanks, Jack, for the presentation. It's quite, the functionality comes out very clearly because I'm looking at it at first time. So I could understand very easily what is the functionality that we are offering through the ID. But I don't understand how my data will stay protected. I do see that it was mentioned that it is very safe and it doesn't store the data, but it's just as a layman who doesn't have any technology information or understanding, to convince to a user, maybe you would need to put something more that explains how my data will stay protected. And other than that, like I see this is like a bank app which we have from different banks already. And document signing also, we have different apps like doc signing and many other applications that HR people use, banks also use. So I am failing to understand the value addition of going to a third party instead of just using the app from my own bank. That would be more reliable for a common person. Is it offering me that I can link all 3, 4 banks to this ID and I don't have to have individual bank apps? Or is it only I can only link one bank? I want to see what is the added functionality when I go with this ID other than just using my bank. So I couldn't understand from the demo. I'm sure there must be, but from the demo, it doesn't come across to me.
Let me try and answer those, but there's probably a long discussion there. In theory, yes, this could be used to log in all of your banks. The banks would all kind of need to opt into this together. And we are kind of, as a business development team, trying to find those use cases that we can sell Tonomy ID as a login system to multiple apps. We're actually in a discussion right now with a banking system that is thinking of doing this. The value add for them is that, unlike DocuSign or something, none of this this information, like the medical record you saw, gets stored in a database. It gets stored sovereignly in the phone, and in that way, it becomes way more private and under your control as a user than if you go and send it to DocuSign, who then goes and saves the PDF in their database and processes it. Or maybe sells it. I mean, I don't think DocuSign's business model is around selling data, but many other business models sell your data. You don't really know when they're processing it or sending it to others. When it's in your phone and only in your phone, you have control and you know that it's sent only when you authorize it. So this is a big reason this bank consortium is coming to us, because they want to comply with GDPR easier. And by not storing data in a database at all, nobody becomes a data controller. The user is the data controller. So this is a cybersecurity compliance use case with this banking consortium, that the user is the control of their data, and they don't have to comply with all of the security requirements of storing it in a database. And that is enough value for them to choose a system like this over their existing identity systems using OAuth and previous protocols where data is always stored in a database.
Sorry to
that explains a
interfere.
bit.
Yeah, it gets clear when you say like this, right? But it didn't come out in the demo to me. So maybe
No, so there's
yes.
two different stories. There's a story we're telling in the app, which has to be super simple and easy to understand for mainstream users. And then there's the business development story, which our business development team is working on, and that's going to be in the website more than the product. The website will kind of tell that story of why they should use this over others. The product needs to work following the story.
That's absolutely your choice there. But yes, what we see the concern from people whenever you're talking about the digital IDs and those kind of things, it's like how safe it is, how secure it is, and what is it offering me compared to other things that are available. Why would I go on to this one? Right? Like now in India, they're coming up with a new ID, which is called the Parivar ID. So, or they will link all the family members' data through that ID, and every information will be linked through that, and they're going to use it for the tax department. So there will be a tax on the family income source. Initially, there was a hesitation that we have Aadhaar card, we have this ID, that ID. Now, on top, why we have this ID? So the person who gave the demo made it very clear that how secure, safe, and what is the value addition from it. So I'm just coming from the another demo that I attended, and it just came from the demo. Definitely, we are selling the product, but at the same time, we also have to think about the people who gonna use it. What would be their outlook towards the product? But that's just
When you
my
say
take.
demo, do you mean
Yes,
the products we showed, or do you mean the demo that I'm explaining, or both?
it's a combination of both, right? They're selling the
Okay.
product, but at the same time, giving a comparison of existing things and how gives the value addition to.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other feedback on the demo product that we have just seen? Kirsten?
Yes, and now I may be sliding into territory of the next step of this process, but I think it would be
Then
good.
let's save
Yeah,
that for
I'm
the
not
product.
sure. I'm not sure if it is, so just interrupt me if it is. I'm tying into what Rashmi just said. I think it would be good if the demo has slides on what to do if you lost your phone, for example, and how to give access to family members that are not necessary, but that you can pull up for answers, because I think that's a question that somebody
Let's
brings up.
put this in the product requirement workshop. It's a good one.
Okay.
This is exactly.
Then I think visuals are also for the product requirements. Then a question. This is, I think, a fully on-chain demo, right? Are you also thinking about doing some stuff off-chain that might be more customizable and just like Figma slides or that kind of stuff?
I don't understand. Part of it was a live demo,
yeah.
and
So
part
what
of it
you,
showed in Figma. So maybe.
yeah.
could you
So
clarify
what the final step of this is going to be, I assume, is actually connected to the blockchain, right?
It is connected to the blockchain.
Yes.
So when we created the account was created on the blockchain. There's transaction signed.
Yes. So
So
you
part of
said,
it is on chain. When we did the demo of signing the medical record, that was off chain, not on the blockchain,
yeah.
but connected to the same blockchain account.
So my question is, for the final product, will that be fully on-chain or will there be an off-chain part? Because I think we talked about customizability before, and maybe having some functionalities off-chain could be a solution there for easily putting it in the right flavor.
So the W3C verified credential stuff is all off-chain. If the application wants to use that feature, that's not something that touches the blockchain. Signing a blockchain transaction is obviously a feature. You can use the private keys once you've signed into an application to log into a server. That's also off-chain. And then there's a third feature we haven't kind of demoed yet, but it's in the roadmap to do peer-to-peer messaging, also off-chain. So a lot of off-chain features, only one on-chain feature at the moment. Mike was next. Oh, no, I think Melita was... Melita, you had your hand up for a while? Or no, that's just number answer. I think it's Mike.
Okay, so I think we forgot to stress out that how important is that we are doing off-chain several transactions without confirmation in our application itself, right? So you don't need to go back to your application Tonomy ID to confirm a transaction. So you do all the off-chain just for the convenience of the users, right? So not like in Anchor. In Anchor, every time to confirm the transaction, you need to again go back to your application and sign using the your fingerprint or whatever, right?
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, to emphasize, so unlike most traditional Web3 wallets, every time you want to sign a piece of data, whether it's a verifiable credential or a blockchain transaction, you have to go back to the wallet. You'd have to go back to the Tonomy ID wallet. So we've built a pretty novel new way of doing this, where you sign it in the application itself, and they control the user experience with almost the same security guarantees as if you signed it with the wallet. It's a bit less, but you get a huge usability boost, and the application gets to decide whether they want to sign in their app or send it back to the wallet. Thanks, Mike. Reshmi. Any other feedback on the demo product, what we've just seen? If that's it,
yeah, sorry, I was not able to unmute somehow, but yeah, I just I was looking at when creating the ID and everything, you have to type in all the data, right? Is that correct? Like later on my information, there is no like the audio thing that I just say it and it's automatically like I have to type in all the information.
Yeah, like in the medical record.
Yes, like anywhere, like whatever record, even if I'm creating for my bank or for my medical records or anything that where I am as a user entering my information, it's all like I have to type in. There is nothing like a audio button that I just say my name, I just say my account name, number, and it just gets typed in. Like
so you're
efficient for the
advocating a
user.
little bit for you can use a voice to text
Yes.
in the app.
Yeah. If possible, I don't know. Like that makes it easier and easier for the user.
Cool. Thank you. Any other feedback on the demo product? Cheyenne.
So I was wondering if we're going to basically want to share a piece of information with someone without sharing our entire identity, how that would look like in terms of the verification. So would it essentially show the recipient the public ID, or would it essentially, like, how would the recipient know who that anonymized ID is, essentially? Would that be clear to their system by assigning another layer to it, or how would that work?
It's good to note that right now with the existing product, the information you store can't currently be shared with other apps. It's not a feature yet. What you can do is sign data, but you can't share it yet in the app. This is a planned upcoming feature, but we had to prioritize, and the first thing in the process is obviously signing. So that is what we've built so far, and you can't share it explicitly yet with Tonomy ID. So you can, whoever integrates this can go and share the data, but it's not a feature of Tonomy ID yet. When it is a feature of Tonomy ID, you'll get a consent screen that shows this is what you're going to share, this is who you're going to share it with.
Okay. And DGID, right? I think I saw it on your phone. Are you aware of it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So compared to DGID, what would be the main differentiators at this current point in product? Without just the, that everything is stored on chain or off chain, the anonymity elements and the privacy elements. From a functionality point of view, what would be the differentiators compared to a system like DGID?
I can comment technically and say that in terms of the flows, what you can do with DigiD are very similar. You can log into apps with DigiD, basically. DigiD is a public service. So anybody with a DigiD, which is only Dutch citizens, can log into an app that is integrated with DigiD, which has to be whitelisted. The way Tonomy ID works right now is when we have a client or an ecosystem that we deploy in, any app in that ecosystem doesn't need to be whitelisted and can be logged into with their Tonomy ID deployment. And the flow would look similar to the user. The difference will be the security and privacy properties will be enhanced. The user will be in control of those. That's different to DigiD, where all of the user's information is in a database.
Correct. Makes sense.
But the user doesn't see that. Okay. I think for the sake of time, we're going to stop here. There's some great feedback. Really appreciate that. And we'll go on for the next sections. So just a quick overview, other things that happened this sprint. We did fix a bug. We had a few direct value tasks where we created some pitch and demo combined videos that are now on YouTube. And we did some infrastructure upgrades for a client and had a few enablers. Melitza was doing some design research. We had some work to set up a new piece of data for these banks. And then Melitza showed some of the new designs in Figma, and some other infrastructure work went on. Based on previous sprint demos, we wanted to split up the demo of what we just did and getting the new features that people want in a prioritized way. So we're moving to a different feedback loop. Right now, we just did the sprint demo. And what we're going to do now is to move into a workshop called the Product Requirements Workshop. The idea is that this is going to be creating a set of prioritized product goals in the form of user stories. This will go into our product team's Scrum sprint planning meeting tomorrow. And then the team will be deciding on the next 3 achievable sprint goals. Remember, I presented the sprint goals at the beginning. We're going to be moving to the team deciding the sprint goals based on the product requirements you provided with in a moment. Then those sprint goals will be designed, developed, and then demoed again in 2 weeks. During that process, Melitza and me, the product owner, will be soliciting feedback internally and externally on the designs before we develop them. Another thing that's happening in Suit is that as a foundation, we are defining better our long-term product goals, and this will also be an input for the product requirements workshop. So all of this will go towards creating these product goals. These are our short-term goals. These are our long-term goals. So this has kind of been something blocking the team to really get clarity. And if that's all clear, we will end the meeting, this part of the meeting, and go to the product requirements workshop. This is just for the stakeholders. So the Tonomy ID team can leave except for Chetna and I, and everybody else can stay basically. And I will share this link now in our chat. So if you could go to this mirror board, and I will see you all in there. And thanks very much for your time, Tonomy ID team.
One question: should I stay or should I leave?
I'd love you to stay. You're not
Cool.
obliged.
I'd love to stay.
And Sadia and Rebel, you can go if you want.
Jack, it seems like I need to request access to access the board.
Oh, okay. I will. How do I do this? Access the board. Anyone with the link can view. Oh, I don't see the link. Okay, I will just grant access here. That doesn't seem very difficult. If you just request access, I'll just grant it as you come in. It's a pretty simple workshop. Two kind of warm-up exercises, and then we start talking about the user stories and make priorities for those. This is where you define what the product's going to be. I don't see Sophian, Cheyenne, Chris here yet.
I'm in the mirror board. I'm probably anonymized though because I'm not signed in probably.
Okay.
Should I sign in?
If you, we need you to be able to edit and make
Gotcha.
make sticky notes like I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do that, then you probably need to sign in.
Yeah.
Do I see who's in here? Is everybody here? Sophie, Mike, Kirsten.
Yes, I'm on the.
Yep, I see you, Sophia. Kirsten, you're only a viewer.
Okay, how do I change that?
On it, you can't edit it. Okay.
Yeah, for me, my screen says editor.
Yep. Okay. Then I'm missing Chris. I'm just missing you, Chris.
I think Chris is in another meeting.
Okay, fine. Then I'll just present the quick overview. There's just 4 stages. First is going to be customer feedback, 10 minutes, creating a note for each feedback about the existing product, or defining problems that you would see solved by the product that aren't there yet. Right? So 2 examples. Our team doesn't have the expertise to comply with GDPR security, and if Tonomy ID doesn't support eIDAS signatures, we can't use it. Just 2 examples here I've got. So please use the sticky notes features and fill this up with whatever ideas you have on problems you think are relevant to solve, and or feedback on the existing product that you think needs to be addressed.
I requested permission. I don't have it yet.
Got it. Okay, that is done. Should be able to refresh and get in now.
Yeah, works. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. You're doing great. So just 1 more minute. So this is going to be pretty rapid fire. Going through this. And this is the first time we're doing this. Okay, thanks. We've got some good ones here. This is just a warm up, so we're going to move ahead. You can see on the right-hand side here, we've got red dots beside everybody's names. What I want you to do is vote with your red dots on important things that you see here on the customer feedback. So what do you think are the 3 most important? And I would, let's just say for this one, you should use 1 dot for one note. So don't put them all on 1 note. Let's see what the spread looks like, okay? So that's it. We're just going to vote now. Okay, great. So just summarizing what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing the demo needs visuals for non-techie users. It would be great to address how to deal with broken or lost phone. We've also got, it's not clear how I can implement in my Apple website. Those 3 have got a lot of support. And then we've got a little bit of support on the anonymous username should be chosen by the user, and the user should be able to share pieces of credentials with third parties without revealing the full identity. Great, thanks very much. We'll move to the second activity. Again, 10 minutes. So now you can use what we just saw, or you can just start afresh, right? So the last one is inspiration, but not a requirement for this one. Here, you create a note for a thing you would like to see in our product. And you can also write in there why. Okay. And then again, we're going to vote. So just 5 minutes creating these, pretty quick, rapid fire, and then 5 minutes of voting. I've got an example here. So log into Tonomy, participate with Tonomy ID. So Tonomy participates a governance-focused application, just to show that is a product idea.
There are things that I put in the in the customer feedback. Should I move them because there are more product ideas?
I would not move them, but if you feel like they should be here as well, you could copy them or modify them.
Okay.
So these would be features or new things you would want to see. It could be features in Tonomy ID, or it could be something Tonomy ID does with an app that you integrate with it, or something like this. Or maybe it's an app that you want to see Tonomy ID integrating with.
But I think as a more or less technical people, we need to understand that it should be feasible to achieve in 2 weeks, right?
That is not part of the workshop here. That's part of the sprint demo we do tomorrow. The team will be deciding what's feasible.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be taking these requests for products
Mm-hmm.
with their priorities and deciding what we can deliver based
Okay.
on that and give the most value.
All right, but like if it would take like 6 months, it's like maybe not reasonable to put it there,
There's
right?
space. You'll see in a moment. There's a bit of space for understanding how much work it is. I'm going to start grouping these together a little bit. Mhm.
Sofian, you have Russian children on the background.
Yes,
All right.
you got me.
Okay, just one more minute. So just finish these off. Okay, great. I have grouped these together. There's just 3 groups. You can see because they're touching each other. The rest are their own separate thing. Again, this is just a warm-up, so we're not going to go through it at this stage. So just, again, use your votes to vote on which of these product ideas you think are the most valuable to you. Kirsten, you're blocking the votes. Thank you. So yeah, please vote on these now. Sophian, we're waiting on your votes.
I assume it's not allowed to vote for ourselves, right?
I think that's fine because it's just a warm-up round again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just going to quickly summarize this. So we had the most votes on data sharing, so being able to share data between apps or something like this. The next most votes was on basically seeing how it integrates with existing solutions or new solutions. We also had some votes on the ability to show a credential to a smart contract for verification and using zero-knowledge proofs for blockchain badges and credentials on chain proofs, and a few other votes around. So now we're going to the kind of the last phase. There's a bit more time for this. If you go across to the right, Here we're going to be really defining product requirements in the form of a user story. And this is a way we can kind of more exactly see what we should develop. And you guys are going to write user stories. The format is here in the example. So you won't be just copying. You need to actually write a user story. As a Tonomy BD person, I can log into Tonomy Participate. This is another app that we built so that I can sell, so that I can sell both Tonomy ID and Participate as a joint product. So this gives you a clear who this is for, what they want to see, and why they want to see it that way. We will then be voting on those, and we'll be voting assuming they will take about the same amount of time. In the last and final section, I will be assigning magic estimates to each of the user story points to see how voting changes. And I call them magic because it's pretty hard to make estimates. So we're really going to treat them as very best guesses and very estimates only, just to see how people's votes would change on priorities. And that's going to be a quick process. Doing great. Let's have a look here. Okay. Nice. moving some things around to give us some space. There's two ones down the bottom here. I've split up a previous story, and I would like you to finish off the story with the reason. So there's the so part. I'm not sure who created those, but these two here. Awesome. Yes. Content creator. Doing great here, everybody. I think we're almost done. I'll just move this in, makes it a bit more visible. Encapsulate all of this. Nice, we're on one chain. Yes, those waiting, feel free to read these tasks. We're going to have a moment where you can ask clarifying questions, but you can already read and vote. You know the drill. One more minute. So Shane, if you could just finish that other one as well, that'd be great. I've again created two groupings. There's two sets of two tiles that are both the same, more or less. Does anybody have any clarifying questions for an author of one of these cards? They're all, in my opinion, well done. So congratulations to all of you. But if somebody has questions, now is a good time to ask. Okay, I think we have them all on the board. Let's leave it at this for now. I don't hear any questions. If you have them, please just speak up. If we could just leave them all where they are for now, that'd be great, Mike, because I need to copy them. Thanks. And people are voting. So just leave the cards where they are, and please vote on what you see as the most important product requirements here. Everyone's got 3 votes. Um, Interesting. Using purchase the shop. I'm just going to move these two around. They're not voted on, but these two are quite similar actually. I think we're done here. Now, slightly different format. I'm going to ask each of you to summarize how you would interpret some of the cards here. So who would like to take the top middle card with the most votes? This one here. Would somebody be able to explain how they would interpret this? Sorry, actually, before we do that, Mike, could we just record this so that I can send it to the product team?
I think we do recording it, right? Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Who would like to take top middle?
I can do. I unleashed my microphone so I can do it. So as I can see, if I'm a Tonomy ID user, so I definitely should be able to recover my account. And if I do that, so all my data is on place in case I forgot the passport. So it means I definitely will see the mechanism how I can recover my password, right? So it should be either third parties SMS or something else like different questions. So it means I need a way to restore my password through the third parties or relying on my other, I don't know, security questions or whatever.
Cool. Just to clarify, any other inputs on how you would all see this recovery happening? Mike mentioned a few already: SMS, third party, security questions. Any other ones here people think are important?
Social recovery, like if someone has my my family has access to let me recover my password if I send them some link or
Thank you.
QR.
There is a new concept of DREC. It's decentralized recovery. It's basically that you share the private key in pieces with a group of people, and whenever you lose your access to your decentral private keys to wallets or different types of accounts, you're able to recover them using your circle of recoverers. And basically, every day or once an hour, the system checks if your recovery circle that could be an option.
Cool. That I would classify that as social recovery, the last thing Mike said. So good. Any other opinions here? What would they expect to be the most important recovery mechanism they would see? If they would see only one, what would it be? Can I just get around on that? Mike, if there was only one recovery mechanism, what recovery mechanism would that be for you?
The most convenient, I think, it's a security question because SMS, I travel country from country, and in each country I buy the phone, and then I lose access to my phone. And let's say if I lost access to my phone, I lost to my account. So right now the
Cool.
security
Thanks.
questions.
Kirsten? You can also add things here. Nobody said email recovery yet.
Maybe it's
but,
email because I was thinking SMS, but then if you lost your phone and indeed the tracking, that's not great. So I think it might be email.
Thank you. Cheyenne, if there's only one recovery mechanism, what would you see that being?
I wouldn't put that choice into our hand. I would make it customizable for the customer, but I think email is probably the most convenient in today's world.
Thank you. And Sofian.
So I'm a bit like specific on the technicity of EOS.io, but I really like the native version of EOS.io, which is if you designate people, you give them a multi-sig with a weight, and then like each.
So this would be the social recovery.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Next, highest voters here in the bottom leftish. Who would like to explain how they would interpret this one?
Well, this one
Anybody?
is about ease of use. So it has to do with that it has to be practical and easy to, first of all, implement yourself. Second of all, to show to other parties that you might want to convince to join. So that, of course, will snowball the marketing effect of Tonomy if you can accelerate adoption by ease of use and by having customers as your ambassadors.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody have anything they want to add here as if we go and build this, something they would expect?
Demo guides and a guide on how to implement. So really like a book where you can read through it step for step online.
Yeah, I would suggest making a developer portal where there is tutorials for certain different basic use cases and basic SDK and API integration guidelines.
Yeah, and for developers also a place where they can ask questions. So that could be, of course, Discord, maybe with some FAQs in there as well, or another indeed a forum-like environments.
I also would like to see the video. Maybe some people are more visual than like a text reader. So just like a copy this, put it here, make sure this, like a video instruction.
Video instruction of how to integrate.
Yes.
But a video demo could also be good, that they don't have to do the demo themselves, but can just screen share with demo.
And that would be like explaining, like what we did, explaining that demo and all of its features. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'm thinking here more of the middle one that I now can't read through the screen share, but indeed people that want to be more of an ambassador and want to indeed show how it can work within an existing app.
Thanks. Any other inputs here? Great. We have a third place. Is this one here? Would somebody like to explain this? Maybe you, Sophia. I know part of this is from you.
Mm-hmm. So which one in particular?
This one. These two here are both share selected data with favorite bands, zero knowledge proof attributes, something like that one. These two here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the first one is not mine, but I can explain the second. So the idea is that today, if I want to prove something to a smart contract, I have to expose. So there are two ways to do it. Either I have everything on the same account, and it's not good for privacy. So maybe I want to have an account for my ID, and I want to have an account with my assets, or I want to have, certain assets in certain accounts and so on. So in order to solve this, what we could do is creating like a vault of accounts that allows you to prove anything that is related to one of the accounts in the vault. So I have my primary account, which has like the things that I want to be public and so on. And then if there is an on-chain event that is needed, as a wallet, it would be amazing if we could allow people to prove that they have something within one of their accounts without exposing which account it is. So for example, if you need to own a certain NFT to be part of a DAO, but you don't want people to know that you own that NFT, you could use your primary account and basically pass the test without people seeing that, or maybe you are fine with people knowing that you own that NFT, but not other things that are on the same account that has that NFT.
Okay, thanks, Sofiane. Does anybody else have any other feedback for these two user stories? What they would expect? It's also related to the top right story about sharing data. This is a bit more specific about being able to selectively share data. And the top right one is just generally being able to share data.
I think it's indeed very important if you're going to look at marketing that you can select what you share, or at least that you see a menu of what you're actually sharing, because maybe you're not aware that you're sharing your real name, for example. Maybe it's not something you want, but you are okay with sharing your age, your gender, other data that could be useful for them.
Mm-hmm. When you say important for marketing, you mean for our marketing or our clients' marketing?
Yes, so now I'm thinking about the one that's close to the green sticky, the top one. So sharing to other companies. So for example, in the Netherlands, we have something called a bonus card at the Albert Heijn. And other parties are very interested in having the data. They want to know what crisps are bought with their beer brand, for example. That's maybe information that you would be willing to share to get a discount on your next beer. But maybe you don't want to share your full date of birth, only that you're over 18, for example. But you might be happy to share that you're a woman because maybe they prefer a different type of crisps with their beer.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I think that's it for this section. We'll go to the last section. This is again a bit of an experiment here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy these, and if you could all go to the right, and if you could delete your votes, okay? Delete the red dots on the last one here. Like I'm doing. What I'm going to be doing now is just adding some very magic estimates on how long some of these might take and just seeing how votes will change, okay? How do I move these all to the front? There. So this will assume we would only work on one of these, really, at a time. And maybe we work on them concurrently, but if we just worked on one of them, what would it look like? seem to have lost this. This sounds a bit too vague to really be able to vote on. To estimate workforce participation, seem on your verifying access. Let's see, this one as well. I want to create a CBD product.
I think we also might forgot about PIN, login with the PIN and fingerprint as well.
Yeah, I think we'll take care of that in the sprint review to take into account. Prove a credential without tuning in. It's all very similar. Okay. These are the magic estimates. So do not take these as expectations for how long. This is just to see if there's a reorganization of votes. And they're really just rough. So I'd just now like you to vote on these again with these new estimates on it and see if votes change. I'm not sure if this will be, happening in 2 weeks. Chetna and I will decide, but please just vote again quickly. We've just lost Sophia. Okay, that's fine. I think we are done then. I think, that took 15 minutes, a little bit over time, but that's all. We're not going to go through it again. So that is it. Thank you all so much for joining this workshop. Your input's all super valuable. And tomorrow, the product team is going to be using this to define our next 3 sprint goals, which you'll be presented at the next product sprint demo. So thanks very much, and that's all. Chet,